Hello friends, welcome to Tea and Banter with me. It's me, Mary Elizabeth, and today I'm bringing you my 5 top romances from January till now, mid-year. And these are my recommendations. The first one is called Sparks of Mercy, and it is by Bryn Ford. I don't have a copy, unfortunately, but I will put up a picture here. And this is a fascinating story about Mercy Madness, who is a servant. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit about this story. This is about a community of women broken into 2 groups, the domestics and the servants. The men, and they're called the control, oversee God's will. And so once a month, the men get to purge their violence and sexual needs on servants. The domestics become men's wives, and they bear their children through surrogacy. There's no sexual happenings or anything like that, and they raise their children and they take care of the men every other way. The servants once a month need to come out, and the men can do whatever they want, violence acts, whatever. And it is considered a blessing that the women do this for the men, and Mercy does not see it this way, and she decides that she is going to run, which is a crime. And that's how the story begins to unfold, is Mercy decides to stand up against this practice. This, why would God do such a thing? It is a dark romance, but the story was so fascinating. I could not figure out how it came to be this way. Like, I was so intrigued. They are basically, I'm sorry about that, my eye got really itchy. They are basically on an island, and how they came to be on this island, how they got this belief that, I mean, even men, if they get the urge for anything sexual or violent for the month, they have to, restrain and hurt themselves or do whatever to not do that until they get that once a month with the servants to torture them and do whatever. And the women are supposed to be appreciative of that. And so this sets out the journey of Mercy, have the consequences for running, and how she continues to stand up and try to make change and to make a difference and to break this cycle of this religious community, cult, whatever you want to call it. It is an amazing story. There are absolute trigger warnings. This is very abusive towards women, but the strength that these women have was absolutely amazing. And although so our heroine is Mercy and our hero is Alo, and at first you don't see him as a hero because he's one of the control, but when you begin to learn about little tidbits of how this came about, this belief system, this everything, and how Mercy begins to make Alo question what he's always believed, what he's been taught, you begin to see his change and the way he's thinking, and how he tries really hard to help her and make decisions to the best of his ability. And you see him just as much a victim, and go against the system and try to make it work. It's just an amazing story. This is a 3-book series, and I highly, highly recommend it. Like I said, check your trigger warnings. This is not for the faint of heart, but it is a fabulous topic. I love books that make you think and make you think about things that have happened or could happen and how they come to be, and then the strengths of the characters that really come out of it and are still just as strong and better for it. So it's an amazing 3-part series. I highly recommend it. So that's one. These are not in order. And I will say, because I am a huge fan of Gianna Dallin so far, there's not a book that I haven't loved of her Fallen Men series. So I always put that it's one of my tops. But the next one is Caution to the Wind. And Caution to the Wind is an age gap romance. Again, check your trigger warnings as always. This is about a doctor, Axeman, who ends up marrying a woman that he's not in love with, but he cares about her. She has a daughter, and they have many struggles and many issues, and he just is really a good person and wants to help them. And then there's the daughter's best friend, May, and she becomes a part of their life. She's with them all the time, but she has a very difficult life. And even though she's the same age as the daughter, she does not act. She acts more mothering to the daughter than acting her own age. So May is with Axe's wife when she gets murdered. May tries to help her, she can't, because she's still young. So then Axe ends up raising the daughter by himself, and it basically then becomes May and Axe's love story, and it is tragic, and it has lots of teary moments, and there is some gang affiliation in here as well. I think it's the Triad, but don't quote me on that, involved in this. It is just a phenomenal book. I highly recommend this one. Then the next one is called Double by Dublin. B.B. Easton is the author. This one I love because it also has some Irish folklore in it, which I'm a fan of. But this is basically about a girl who visits in Ireland her grandfather, and they talk about the strange boy who lives in the woods. And one day the girl sees him, and they become friends, and they make a fort in the forest, and you know, they use rocks as chairs and things like that. And she really brings him out of his shell. But he is abused. He is being raised by a priest who is very abusive. And so starts their story and the tragedies that they face as they grow up, because of course she goes back to America and then doesn't come back for some years. And when she does, he's grown, and he has had some really tough experiences. And so I don't want to go into too much detail about this, but it's a tearjerker. Love them both to pieces, and I highly recommend this story. It's beautiful. The next one is a popular book, because who does not love Jennifer Hartman? And her most recent one, at least for me to read, I think it's one of her newest, is, and again, I know it's popular, is Older. And this is an age gap. And this is, again, trigger warning, very abusive to the heroine. And she ends up meeting her best friend's dad, but doesn't know that that's her best friend's dad. And so there becomes that story. But it's a great story of survival. It's a great story of healing. It is a survival story, and it really kind of, again, I think Jennifer Hartman's books really goes to show sometimes what I believe is chronologically your age is one thing, but intellectually and experiences can make you older or younger depending. And so it's sometimes really hard to say that you don't agree with something or you do. It's a great story. Again, there's a lot of abuse, so I would definitely check your trigger warnings, but a wonderful, wonderful story. Oop. Then the last one that I have for you is, I'll tell you, I know it's a dark romance, but I find it's a mystery as well, and huge trigger warnings in this. Definitely a lot of abuse, but it is a chunker. It is, let me just see here. And this is 600 pages, and it is going to be a trilogy. And this is called Hills of Shivers and Shadows by Pam Godwin. My gosh, this book. First, let me just show you. I know it's strange, but I often get sucked in by artwork too, but this is just a little example of the artwork. Isn't that beautiful? So each character has like an image, and it's beautiful. Let me see if there's a bigger image in here. There might not be. I know in the second book there is. Oh, yes, I love this image. Sorry, I'm sidetracking just for a minute, just so I can show you. Look at this one. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. Anyway, so this is a story about, oh God, what is her name? Frankie, that's what it is. So Frankie lives in Alaska. She's married and she finds herself pregnant. Her husband does not want a child, and they fight over that. He leaves to work. While he's gone, a man breaks in and kidnaps her, and he takes her to the Arctic, I believe, and he says he's taking her to meet his sons. She gets there. They're 3 grown men. It is clear that there are major issues, and they rely on just this man that kidnapped her. Like, without him, none of them would survive. He doesn't allow them to even see the controls on the airplane, so they can't learn to fly. He doesn't allow them to learn how to fix the generator, which again is lights, heat, or anything. So if anything happens to him, they would die there. So basically what you're learning is, although there is bullying, the 3 men are not nice to Frankie at all when she gets there. And then things slowly start to turn around, and she starts to see that it is not all that it seems. Like, she thought all these 4 men were against her, and come to find out that perhaps the 3 other men are victims as well. And so sets the journey. This is such an amazing mystery as well. And then, of course, it leaves on a cliffhanger. So be prepared for that, that it is a cliffhanger, and there are a lot of, throughout, I kept having questions and like getting tidbits of answers along the way. Pam has a great way of keeping the story moving while still leaving you questioning what's happening or what's next, and really enjoyed this. I read this in 2 days. I could not sleep. I could not put it down. I had to finish it. And in fact, I just bought the second one because I couldn't wait. And the second one, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna show you the second one just because. The second one is Cages of Ice and Echoes. So that's the second one. And the third one, I believe, comes out this August. So be prepared, get ready. I think this is an amazing story. Great. It just kept me, like in a mystery, like wanting to know what was going on and why things were happening and how things got the way they were. And not all your answers are in here. But absolutely fulfilling to hold you off till the next one. Just enough answers to keep you satisfied, but also keep you intrigued to go on to the next book. And isn't that a great storyteller? So those are my 5 recommendations for mid-year from January till now. Romance recommendations. So again, I recommend all of them. Even if you pick one, I'm sure that you will like it. Until next time, I hope that you are all safe and I hope you're all loved. Bye.